Alright, continuing on with a monomial times a polynomial, I'm going to again use the distributive property and then multiplication of monomials in order to do this. Now on this one right here with the subtraction, don't forget that we're going to be considering this a negative 2xy. So distributing this across, a negative times a positive is a negative, 4 times 1 is 4, x squared times x squared, 2 plus 2, which is 4, y times y, 1 plus 1, which is 2. And then plus, and then a negative times a negative, which is a positive, 2 times 4, which is 8, x squared times x, that's 2 plus 1, which is 3, y times y, which is y to the 1 plus 1, which is 2. And then finally, negative times a positive, which is a negative, and I'm going to write that as subtraction, 4 times 3, which is 12. There are no other x's, so I'll just copy down the x squared and y times y, which gives me a y squared. And that is my distributive property and application of the monomial times monomials to multiply a monomial by a polynomial. Now our next topic, we're going to talk about how do we multiply two binomials. In order to multiply two binomials, we're going to be learning about the FOIL method. Now the FOIL method is just an extension of the distributive property, where we take the first term here and we distribute it through this binomial here. And then to that we add the second term in the first binomial distributed through here. Now there's a little acronym that we use to remind us of how we're going to do that multiplication. It's called the FOIL method. You may have heard that before. And FOIL stands for the first times the first, the outside times the outside, the inside times the inside, and the last times the last, here times here. Now remember, when what I want you to look at here is that if I have a binomial of the form x plus a number times another binomial x plus a number, and x just being a general variable, it could be x or y or z or whatever it happens to be, that the first term is going to give me a variable squared term. And the outside and the inside terms are both going to give me x terms, but what we're going to end up doing is adding up these two numbers that we see here. And then our last term is always just going to be a product of those two numbers. So when I do this problem here, x plus 2 times x plus 3, let's do the full-blown FOIL method on it, and then let me show you the shortcut method. So the first times the first, that's my f, right? And that's going to give me x times x, which is x squared. And then my first times my, this one times here gives me my outsides, that's my O, so 3 times x, which gives me my 3x, and then the 2 distributes through, that's my insides multiplying, 2 times x, which gives me 2x, and then finally my 2 distributes over here, and those are my last ones, and 2 times 3, which gives me 6. And what you notice is that these two terms are like terms, so the inside and the outside products end up adding together, and so we get x squared plus 3 plus 2 x's, which is 5x's, plus 6, and what we got was a trinomial. Whenever we have two binomials that are of the same type, we always will get a trinomial because the outside and the inside products will add together. So what I propose is for us to do something a little simpler here and say, okay, well, I see the first terms, they're just going to multiply to give me an x squared term. And then the inside's going to give me an x term where I have 2 plus 3, which is going to give me a 5x. And then we have a 2 times 3, which is going to give me a 6. And you see, I very simply got this same answer by doing that process. Let me show you one more time. Okay, so with our x minus 5 and x plus 9, I see, okay, well, I know I'm going to get an x squared term because these are multiplying, and then my middle term is going to be the sum of these numbers, negative 5 and positive 9, which is going to give me a positive 4, and those are x's. And then my last one is a negative 5 times a positive 9, which is going to give me a negative 45. Now what I want you to do before you watch the next video is actually FOIL it out, right? Do first, outsides, insides, and lasts, and come up with this same product, same answer that I